I looked around the living room and saw that Kylie was nowhere to be seen. I stood up and walked down the hall. Her bedroom door was closed, and it was awfully quiet in there, which meant, without a doubt, that she was doing something she wasn't supposed to do. I tried to open the door, but it was locked. "Come on, kiddo. You know you're not supposed to lock the door." I reminded myself, probably for the 60th time, to replace that doorknob with one that didn't lock, in case I ever needed to get in there during an emergency. "Go away," said Kylie. I had visions of walls covered in pen scribbles, of headless dolls, of water overflowing from her bathroom sink. "Open the door, now!" My daughter didn't dignify my command with so much as a scoff. "All right," I said. "I'm going to get the screwdriver, and if I have to use it, you're going to be in big trouble." I waited a bit, hoping that the threat would be enough for her to open the door, but it wasn't. I sighed, got the screwdriver, and spent 10 minutes messing around with the knob, cursing quietly, before I finally got it unlocked. I threw the door open with a dramatic flourish, putting on my best angry dad face. My efforts were wasted. Kylie didn't even look up. She was sitting on her bed, watching a video. I felt foolish for a moment. That's all she was doing? Watching a video? But then, why'd she lock the door? I walked over and snatched my phone from her hands. There, on the screen, was somebody dressed up in a giant baby outfit, complete with diapers and a pacifier, stabbing another man with a massive knife again and again and again. The act looked sickeningly real. A pool of blood was forming on the floor where the man, who was clearly already dead, lay. Every now and then, the screen would flash red, and on top of it all, in a growl so low that it took me a moment to realize what was being said, "Kill Daddy! Kill Daddy! Kill Daddy!" "Give it back," said Kylie in a flat, demanding tone. I've always tried not to swear in front of my daughter, but this was one of those times where it came out anyway. "What the fuck is this?" "Give it back. Give it to me. You are not allowed to watch stuff like this. You know that. Give it back now. Not only am I not giving it back, but you're not going to watch any videos all weekend." I knew that meant that she'd be on my case all the time until the punishment was over. But man, that video, it was still playing. "Kill Daddy! Kill Daddy! Kill Daddy!" I slammed my finger on the power button and turned off the phone. "Meanwhile," I continued, "you are to stay in your room for 1 hour and think about what happens when you don't follow the rules." I started to walk out of the room. "Kill Daddy," she said. I slammed the door shut on my way out. I went straight to the fridge for a beer. I needed it to calm my nerves and settle my stomach. After I chugged an entire can down, I turned my phone back on, intending to report the video as inappropriate. But I saw that somebody had beaten me to the punch, and the video had already been removed. That wasn't enough as far as I was concerned. I took a screenshot of the URL and started typing out an angry email. I didn't know who I was going to send it to. No actual humans at YouTube would ever look at it, and even if they did, I didn't know what else they could do, besides shut down the channel, which had already happened. The FBI? That sounded right to me. This was some FBI level shit. That man had looked dead for real. I was deep into the email, so I didn't hear Kylie open the door, and I didn't hear her creeping up behind me. The first I was aware of her presence was after she had jammed a pair of scissors into the back of my leg. Then I howled out in surprise at the sudden pain and turned to face my assailant. The sight of my daughter standing there, glaring at me with a stone-cold face, made me feel several things at once: shock, anger, horror, and betrayal. but those all melted together into something more tender when Kylie fell to her knees and started bawling. "I'm sorry, Daddy," she wailed. "I didn't want to. The video told me to. I'm sorry I watched it, and I'm sorry I hurt you." I took the rest of the day off and we went out for ice cream together. I'd never seen Kylie so upset, and I was no longer angry at her in the least. I was angry at whatever monster had made that video and uploaded it to YouTube. Kylie said she hadn't clicked on it or anything. It had come up on autoplay after a Peppa Pig video. By the end of the day, we were both exhausted, but I was feeling like things could go back to normal. Maybe I'd have to shell out for a couple of therapy sessions for her to hash out what she'd seen with a professional, or maybe not. At bedtime, she seemed more or less back to her old self. "Daddy, can I sleep with you tonight?" Even that wasn't unusual, since she asked to sleep with me every night, and while most of the time I made her go into her own room, which she invariably snuck out of in the middle of the night anyway, sometimes we'd do a sleepover. And if anything warranted a sleepover, it was that fucking video. "Sure thing, kiddo." I read to her from the most wholesome, gushy books we had until she fell asleep. I laid there for a long time, fuming about the video, working myself into a frenzy. I imagined finding the guy who'd made it and beating the shit out of him. Finally, I wore myself out and went to sleep around midnight. About an hour later, I was awakened as my daughter tore out a chunk of my neck with her teeth. Try to kill me twice, shame on you. Try to kill me 3 times. By the next afternoon, I had once again convinced myself that things were back to normal. Kylie said that she had been having a nightmare and didn't even know that she'd attacked me until my screams woke her up. We spent the morning playing Legos and laughing. She was very affectionate and kept apologizing for attacking me twice. "Don't worry about it," I said. "Just don't do it again." In the afternoon, I decided to try and catch up on the work I'd missed the day before. I got into the groove, but I also made sure that I checked up on Kylie more than usual. A few hours into my work, Kylie announced that she was hungry. "Pasta is in the fridge," I said. "That okay?" "Yeah." I heard Kylie open the fridge, but she didn't close it right away. "Bottom shelf, I think, sweetie," I said, half turning my head. An instant later, a jar of pickles went hurling past my nose with incredible speed and shattered against the wall, spraying pickle juice and shards of glass all over me. "Kill Daddy! Kill Daddy!" my daughter hissed, holding up a steak knife and running in my direction. That was when her attempts to kill me really began in earnest. I know I've been a little flippant while recording this, but that's just a coping mechanism, at least according to my ex-wife. The truth is that I'm scared shitless. I'm working with 9 fingers right now. Kylie hit the 10th one somewhere. The wound on my neck is starting to turn green. I've hardly had time to think. I've been busy putting out fires, metaphorically, but also literal fires, set by my daughter in her effort to kill me. I've got her secured in her room, for now. The door is held by 4 padlocks that I found in the garage, plus 6 2x4s that I screwed across the jamb as extra security. She's not happy about it at all, but I think she's finally run out of things to smash, and she's bound to lose her voice at some point. She's been yelling kill daddy," for hours and hours. Maybe once her voice gives way and it's finally quiet, I'll be able to figure out what to do. I haven't slept very much in the past few days, so my mind is a little slow, especially with those old painkillers I found. Do I call 911? On my own daughter? Will they believe that a 5-year-old is capable of multiple premeditated murder attempts? What will they do to her if they do believe me? Am I better off calling a priest? Please, help.